Buenos dias. This is DJ Morena Libre.
DJ JC, good Friday morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's doing well. We
Yeah.
have a couple more days before our Thanksgiving. I want to say break.
Yeah.
Some people get a break. We we have to work,
We have
but
to
we do
work.
get Wednesday and Thursday off. So it's really nice to have everybody here. And as we're walking to the studio, I've said this before. It is the fall, but it doesn't feel like the
No
fall.
me está caliente.
There's no variation in the weather. It's hot or hot. Although we did get a break this past, what was it, this week? At the beginning of the week? A little bit of drizzle and overcast.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just still.
Our plants are happy,
That's true.
Good.
right?
Honestly.
Oh, we
Last-
have a guest here.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So just so everybody knows, Marlene is back. Marlene Salazar. She'll be with us, and on the phone will be Melanie Martinez. But we'll introduce them in a little bit. Let's chit chat for a little bit.
Yes.
So weather is still the same.
yeah,
hot.
it's hot. Yeah. Let me look it up because it's just hot.
I was trying to remember last year because we just had the Correo Symposium, and I remember walking out of the building last year, and it was the same weather. It wasn't cold, but then it got a little. I think for us, it's more in December, January, no?
Yes. Although last Saturday, I saw you at the sustainability conference in McAllen, and driving up there, the weather was pretty nasty. And so.
So was the traffic.
Yes, right. Anytime you go into the McAllen area, I think the traffic is just it's rough because of construction and everything. But yeah, so you were at the sustainability conference last week. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
The sustainability conference. We can talk about it more
Yes.
next week, but it was a certification for faculty
Yes.
to know about sustainability and how to apply it across the curriculum. So we had a bunch of speakers, you included.
Yes, I presented.
You presented at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It
on
was over.
Saturday.
It was over at 3:30, and I was presented at 3. So yes, and there was another presenter after me. So yes.
You should. Yesterday we had an Eco Rio Symposium.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we had that. Environmental Studies hosted it. But we had a speaker who stood up because they were towards the end, right? Because it's from 3 to 7. And,
Oh yes.
they were presenting around 6, and he stood up and just did the, the one with the fight. The guy who.
Are you ready to rumble?
Are you
You're
ready to rumble?
Yeah.
You should have done that
Ah yes.
to wake us all up.
I-
He woke us up.
Yeah, because they did put me in the afternoon, which is fine. But no, it sounded really interesting. I was there for maybe about an hour and a half, and how sustainability across the curriculum, across disciplines, and so it was really interesting. From what I heard, obviously I wasn't there both days, but what I did get a chance to hear some of the presenters talking about and discussing, and at the table where we were sitting at. Some of the people that you introduced me to, it was good. It was really a good experience.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So-
It was just long, 2 days.
Yeah.
But, it's,
And the cheesecake that they had there didn't look bad either.
it looked really good. Pero pues ya ando mala, así que no, pues ya no.
Oh,
I
yeah.
should have brought you a piece.
Yeah, it would have been really nice. But
Next time,
next
next
time,
time.
next conference.
Okay, so we have guest today. Texas Rising is here in La Hora Feminista, and we're going to be just getting to know what Texas Rising is about, right? And some of the history, and then some of the issues that are going on in Texas, right? We just got a bombshell on one, right? On
SB4.
SB4.
And SB3. I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Okay, Marlene. So introduce yourself, or you want to introduce Melanie Martinez first?
Yeah.
So Melanie is on the phone, so it might sound a little bit off, but we'll make the best of it.
Yes. Right here we have Melanie Martinez. She's the campus organizer for Edinburgh. And basically, we do the same job, but in different campuses because we are like hours away. And so I'm also a campus organizer. And usually we just try to mobilize within the community and within campus, because we know that a lot of people here are not as informed because, it's either they have school, they have, responsibilities at home. So we just try to do the very best to inform young voters, college students about what's going on here in the state of Texas.
Okay. Okay. And then you have Melanie Martinez on the phone.
Yes, Manali, if you want to say hi.
Hi. So yeah, I mean, I guess Marlene did introduce me sufficiently. So, yeah, yeah, that's basically what we do. She summarized it pretty well.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit what you do in, because you are the campus organizer in Bronzeville, correct? And Marlene, I'm sorry, you're here in Bronzeville. She is in Edinburgh,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do in Edinburgh?
No, yeah. So my main top advocacy at the Edinburgh campus would be around reproductive justice
Reproductive
and
justice?
LGBTQ plus equality.
Okay.
So mainly what I do is I try to advocate for access, wide access, wide and free access to us on campus through projects such as our condom distribution campaign, and then also through the Queer Space Alliance meetings that we've been having recently, which serve as a LGBTQ plus safe space. But yeah, that's a little bit about what I do on the Edinburgh campus. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit of the history of Texas Rising?
Okay, yeah. So Texas Rising, and I have my notes right here because it is a great
It's always good to be
history.
prepared.
Yes. So we started at 2012 at UTB and UTPA. The original founder was Ramona Luna. She was a physics major and also focused a lot within sex ed education. So it's really interesting because how Texas Rising started was under Texas Freedom Network. So originally our name was Texas Freedom Network,
Okay.
and we focused on religious freedom, LGBTQ rights, and sex ed. So then from 2015 to 2017, it expanded more to reproductive justice and in our six advocacy issues, which is a handful. So bear with me. It will be climate change, immigration, reproductive rights, LGBTQ issues, voting rights, and criminal justice reform.
Wow.
Yes, so it's a lot of issues because all of these issues intersect with one another. So we know that if we can't talk about reproductive health if we don't talk about immigration,
Yeah.
and we can't talk about immigration if we don't talk about criminal justice reform. So from there, I want to also mention that a lot of students from Texas Rising had grown to be part of campaigns, are currently, community organizers. So they have taken something out of Texas Rising and expanded in their own personal careers. One would be like Ofelia Alonso, who she was a student leader here at Texas Rising and then became a regional coordinator. And then now she's expanded to directing Texas Rising. So she's a really big deal in Texas Rising. She's running it. And she started here in Bronzeville, which is amazing and empowering to see somebody who was just like us, a student leader here in Bronzeville studying and, doing this amazing job, running an amazing organization.
And how they're contributing now to their community and
Yeah,
giving back.
big time. And she's still here. She still resides here. She still lives here, but she's doing all of this and taking care of the whole state of Texas within our Texas Rising chapters and universities right here in Bronzeville. So that's amazing to see.
How did you come to be interested in this, or how did you see a flyer, or somebody got you into it, or how is it that you came upon this and said, hey, you know what, this is something that I really am passionate about because it covers a lot of really great topics that are we need to bring to the forefront and we need to bring attention to. Was it something you saw a flyer, or you just somebody kind of got you into it?
Yeah, I had a lot of signs of Texas Rising because originally I was just going to focus on my first year in college because it was overwhelming as it is. So I was like, okay, I'm going to focus in school. Then my sister came home from a market square in Texas Rising and was tabling. And she was like, I think you'll be really interested because they're talking about immigration. They're talking about LGBTQ issues. Like, I signed you up for a voting pledge card. And I'm like, okay, like that's, my sister knows me really well. So she knows that I'm really passionate about these topics. And from there, I was like, there wasn't much of a thing. I was like, maybe. And then it wasn't until Dr. Warfield's class, he invited them in and was talking about Texas Rising.
Oh, I see.
And then in Instagram, they're like, we're looking for Brownsville members. And I'm like, okay, this is my sign. So I just texted them saying, I'm really interested in joining. And from there, I cannot lie to you. Texas Rising has opened up many opportunities. I never thought I would grow so much as a person and as a, have some amazing connections here in Texas Rising. And all of because there's just signs, and I'm really glad there's an organization here in Bronzo that believed in the same things that I did. So.
I think that you were already passionate about these things. You already had this in you that you wanted to either advocate for or that you wanted to just make people aware of. And so it just fell into your lap in a sense.
Yeah, it really did. And I'm like, I believe in signs. So those 3 signs were like the lucky number. So definitely.
The 3 of them. So how many members do you have? I mean, overall, or is it separated by Brownsville and you also have the Edinburgh?
Yeah. So for me, I'm in charge of UTRGV Brownsville and TSC.
Oh, okay.
So
TSC as well.
I'm with both campuses. We barely started our TEC chapter this semester, which is really exciting because we're getting to know the campus, we're getting to know everybody, and it's really welcoming in TSC. I'm like, it's just amazing to see that like students are really interested in Texas Rising. So I've seen that interest in TSC. And right about now, because Brownsville is a commuter school, a lot of people just go to class and go home, which is really which is really understandable. But right now we have about 6 members in our chapter.
Okay.
But I give them a lot of credit because with these 6 members, we have done so much this past semester. So I'm really proud of everybody who has contributed to our fall semester.
That's great. That's awesome.
So it's six members in the Bronzeville.
Yes.
But then in TSC?
In TSC, combining is 6 members.
So it's combined.
Yeah,
Oh,
combined.
that's cool. So the way it was before, right?
Yes.
In 2012 or
Yeah.
Okay.
And TSC is Texas Southwest College in Brownsville for
for those of you who are
Yeah,
listening
you're
in,
listening,
yes. So before UTRGV became UTRGV, it used to be here in Brownsville. It was TSC, UTB.
Yeah, UTB TSC.
Yeah.
Which was college, but also had the vocational aspect of education. And then they spanned. TSC became its own institution. UTB became its own, and then in 2015, Edinburgh and Brownsville coming together to form UTRGV.
Yeah.
And so TSC, geographically for us, is literally across the street from where we're at. So it's this acreage of land, but yes, there's 2 independent institutions right next to each other.
And it's we still lease from TSC.
So there's still a connection there.
There's still, and we're the same people. This is something I tell people when during the day, I'm gonna get to a point. Just bear with me.
No, you're good.
When how people compare panaderias or tacos, right? It's like, el pan, and they didn't want to say el pan de Sam's está bien rico, and because it's the same people making it. It's la misma gente, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Los bakery Sam's, it's the same people.
It's like, it's TSC, no, but it's the same.
Yes, it is.
And there's a real strong pipeline pathway between TSC and UTRGV.
Definitely is, and it's definitely really run really different from UTRGV. TSC, and not to shade UTRGV, they're great and they try, but TSC is very welcoming when it comes to community. They have a lot of community events that we take advantage of because we're this is our time to table, so we're gonna do it. And I think this next week, in 2 weeks they're gonna have the Christmas light, and they invited us. Dia de los
Mm.
Muertos, they invited us. There was also an event with I guess they were doing like an involvement fair, but in TSC. So every opportunity like they have an event, they send us an email. So we're just like we're really grateful to have that relationship
That's awesome.
built so strong in the beginning stages.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We should go infiltrate over there one afternoon, take the Feminist Hour.
I
to
was going to say,
TSC.
put flyers up there about the Feminist Hour at 11 o'clock.
They're very open to it.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so.
So real
Yeah,
quick
go
to
ahead.
follow up, how many members you have in Edinburgh,
Oh,
on the Edinburgh campus?
that's I'm not sure. Menely has a number for this one. Yeah. Menely?
Yeah, hi. So, technically, we do have around 40 to 50 members on our V-Link roster. However, not all of those members on our roster regularly show up to events, regularly participate, regularly engage. So I'm guessing, Marlene, that those 6 members are people who consistently go to all of your events and engage more. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, awesome. So on the Edinburgh campus, this past semester we have been slowly and kind of quietly building up momentum over the last semester, and we are starting to see more and more members, more and more of the same members come to our events and participate in phone banks and come to our Queer Space Alliance meetings. However, I do not have an exact number. I would estimate around, I think, five members are. I think that's an appropriate number to quantify how many people consistently go to our events and stay in touch.
So it sounds like you're forming a core
Yeah.
of students, yeah. And
It-
that's important.
Yeah, and usually I think when we went to Camp Texas Rising, Ophelia, she was a guest speaker for one of like our info sessions, and she said it like when she was working here, it was only a few members, and those few members like really did build up, this chapter, which is a lot of people start with few amounts, and then like when you see your friend going and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go too. I think it starts to build up from there. But yeah, we're a really small group, but we're really like we do.
And you're making an impact.
Yeah, we hope so. I know that Edinburgh has a lot of great things in the Edinburgh campus that we're trying to also do here in Bronzo. In Bronzo, we're also trying to hit and target community. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because we're small. I mean, we're a tight community, right? I mean,
Yes.
we are. So I wanted to ask you, you registered. Do you know the numbers of how many students or
Yeah.
community you've registered through the
Yeah.
to vote?
Yes. So I have one day that I do remember vividly. In one day we registered 108 people for National Voter Registration
Wow.
Day. So that was a big like wow to us. But like we have I don't know, I cannot count you, but I know Fernando Alonso, he's our AFO for Texas Rising, and he has registered maybe like 1,000 people just by himself. So that within itself, and he's been working
Great.
here for 4 years. So I would say even more, but I'm not sure the exact number. I'm pretty sure we have done a lot of VRs because that is also one of our hit targets. But combined together, I'm pretty sure we have hit so much voter registration. I just don't know the exact number, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's great though. Okay, so I kind of deviated us a little bit, but can you tell us what are the pressing issues right now?
Yeah.
That I'm used to readers, that listeners should be aware of.
Yes.
Because there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, specifically, I would say here in Bronzo, but also like everybody in the RGV, anti-immigration bills that are happening that are already passed here have been one of the issues that we're trying to make people aware, because this moment, a lot of people are just confused about what's going on. Governor Greg Abbott called 4 special sessions, and within that 4 special sessions, SB4, SB3, and I believe another bill, but I'm not too sure about it, passed. And this is detrimental because you're saying that these anti-immigration bills will directly impact here in Brownsville, everybody in the RGV, everybody in Texas. And a lot of people are not informed about what these bills mean for them and their family, their friends, their cousins. So we're trying to hit the mark with like trying to mobilize with Lupe, try to mobilize with Texas Civil Rights to inform people, to inform students what's going on here. What do these bills actually mean? We had Texas Civil Rights last week talk about these bills before they passed. I think that same day they passed when Texas Civil Rights was talking about it, and it was just we knew it was coming, but we didn't know like that same day at 8 p.m. that they just say okay, it's passed, and then it got released. So I personally think that anti-immigration bills here in Texas and here in Brownsville are one of the crucial important topics, especially for our community. So yeah.
So can you explain
Yeah.
these a little bit?
So SB4, what I know is that it is a mandatory sentencing of 10 years, meaning if I'm driving my cousin to the doctors or something, I get paused, I get stopped by the cops.
Pulled over?
Yeah, pulled over. I am likely to also face 10 years for assisting a migrant. So that is what SB4 is. SB3, I'm not too sure about it, but I know it's allocating billions of dollars to Lone Star. But don't take me too sure about that one.
That's Operation Lone Star.
Yes, Operation Lone Star. So that is basically what these bills are. It is very detrimental because even here in UTRGV, I know they're also saying, hey, if somebody has a backpack, that is reason for suspicion. So everybody here has a backpack. So what is suspicious about, me carrying a backpack and going to class? So that's also like kind of concerning within UTRGV because we are like 5 minutes away from the border. Actually, like a minute away, we just like go. But yeah.
Now, I know that as of yesterday, they were heading to his... Was it yesterday? They were heading to his desk.
Yes. I'm not sure if it was yesterday. I know Denise and Texas Civil Rights was trying to keep me updated on it, but I know that they are going to his desk eventually this week.
Okay.
So,
If they haven't already passed, right?
Yes.
But yeah, so or been at least signed. So that... What does that do to a community? Do you know? Can you give us maybe like a future or an understanding of what you think that's gonna look like?
What I think, personally, we've seen here our community has always been militarized by Border Patrol, by state troopers. This is really normalized here, where we think that having national guards here is really normal.
Well, let's pause there real quick.
Yes.
Who is patrolling our city and our border here in Brownsville?
So custom border, customs of course, Border Patrol, and then I believe the National Guard is also being sent here.
And that's also like so this bill would actually make the local.
Local law enforcement also call in.
Yeah. Right.
So,
So then those now they have the
Yes.
They're gonna have their
resources.
their resources and the rights to also patrol.
Yes.
Citizenship, right?
Yes.
Immigration.
Yes.
Okay.
That is also kind of a concern because one of these bills is saying that if you are caught, if you're undocumented, they either give you 2 choices. They'll walk you to the border, and you can just cross. But if you don't, then you get 20 years in prison.
Oh, 20 or
20.
20.
Yeah.
What was it, 10 that you mentioned earlier?
10 years is
For
if
anybody
assisting. Yeah. And that is also controversial at its own. I know. Yeah.
O sea, 50 por ayudar o asistir.
Yeah,
No,
10.
el 50% menos.
Yes.
Yes.
Sí.
Yeah. So that is one of the issues going on here. I know that people like Texas Civil Rights, ACLU, are fighting, are trying to sue the state because this is highly unconstitutional. So that's what's going on. It's a long process.
But meanwhile, as a state, they can enforce it until they get challenged, and
Yeah.
or a judge says, you need to stop it
It's
until we
unconstitutional.
investigate. Yeah.
Yes. So more than likely, it's going to hit the courts because it is very. It is really scary to just think about it. I have many family members that are undocumented. I have many friends that have family members who are undocumented. So everybody here will be affected some way somehow, and many of us don't know what's going on, and that's not a fault to their own. Like a lot of these bills are happening just under the rug. So a lot of people can do a lot of advocacy issues, but if a person's working from an 8 to 8 job, they're not gonna want to check the news. They're gonna want to go eat and sleep and go. You just relax.
Well, and people are bombarded with so
Yes.
many intersecting issues in their lives every day, right? On the
Yes.
everyday basis, like, okay, paying bills. Administering life is difficult.
Yes.
It's challenging.
Really, yeah.
It really is, because you have so many scenarios that could prevent you from being well informed, right? And then to top that off, the misinformation, right?
The noise
On
that
top
we
of
call
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is really right now what we're on the talks is trying to just have a community gathering where we bring lawyers, we bring people who are fighting these bills, let us know our rights. So this is something that we're trying to plan because it is just scary to think about. I have to get as informed as the lawyer, so I could pass that information to my family. So
And this is the thing. So, I'm not a legal expert. So I think we need a legal expert here. But just thinking about it from an educational perspective, the idea of that word of whatever legal term they're using to give themselves that right to patrol, right, and to stop and to police. For me, it can be broadened, right? If I aid somebody or assist somebody, that term can be broadened to where, okay, what happens if the undocumented students are coming into the university?
yeah.
Is that considered, assisting?
Aid, yeah.
Is that considered aid? Whatever term they're using. So for me, that's the danger, right? In that it's left for interpretation.
Yes. I also think about like the aspect of what about if somebody gets an Uber driver? So I'm just like, so that's also something that I think about. What if somebody is going to church, and there's a community church van that brings them to church? So there's aspects that I think about, and I really, once we figure out how we're gonna do this, we're trying to see if we can do it in the Southmost library, because I think it's a really good area to bring these professionals in and answer the questions that we have, because as somebody that I am privileged with status, I am privileged to be a citizen here. I want to know these things so I could answer these questions to any of my family members that have them. So I have a little hope with going on, because there's a great organizations fighting back, suing the state of Texas. But right now it's just to get as many people informed about these bills, and and also not to make them live with fear, but just to be aware.
Yeah, be informed, because as we mentioned, I mean, there's too much noise coming from different places, social media, from the news, from friends, from family that all have their own opinion, perspective, and misunderstanding sometimes as to what is actually the truth of it.
And if we look at just the context of Bronzeville, right, where people in here in the valley, I mean, something happens, people step in and help out. So how is that gonna affect those types of relationships, right? And communal efforts to help out people. Um, yeah, that's I
Yeah.
I wish I could say that I wish it wouldn't happen, but the chances are that if it hasn't already, it will.
Yeah. So I think about that too. Honestly, personally, hearing about these bills has really made me feel just sad that we come to a point where we're just attacking people who are just trying to live their life. So I would say attacking a family, like attacking state of Texas is pretty much attacking families, mixed status families.
Mixed status,
I
yeah.
think about this. I come from a mixed status family, so I'm pretty sure everybody here from UTRGV is in a mixed status family. Some aren't, but I just think about that aspect, and yeah, it is disheartening, but it's also good to know and awesome to know that there's people who are fighting this. Texas Rising, we're trying to get more training with this. We're trying to partner up with El Paso because El Paso is also dealing with the same
Yeah.
problem.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of border communities
Yes.
are going to be, all of them are going to be
Affected.
impacted. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing that solidarity work also gives a lot of good feelings about.
Because there's several chapters across the state of Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for I believe only like those who live in border communities, it's UTRGV Edinburgh, UTRGV Bronzo, and El Paso, which is UTPE.
Yes.
Yes. So those are like the
Yeah.
only schools.
UTEP.
Oh yes. So I'm like, yes. So those are the only Texas Rising chapters where we are from a border community. So yeah.
Okay. Now, what are, along with those two, right? We can continue talking about those
Yes.
two the whole show, but what other fronts are you also looking at?
We're also looking up to. We're also looking into reproductive justice, especially here in the valley, where we have the highest rate of teen pregnancy, the highest rates of people getting HIV or AIDS. We think about that because a lot of people just don't know what AIDS are or what HIV is, or how is that transmitted disease is going on. So we're trying to focus on sex education. We're trying to focus on reproductive justice, making sure that people are informed that, hey, there's resources like in Planned Parenthood who give you I believe a CAT scam. They give you vouchers, it's either for free or you just pay a small fee. So programs like these are beneficial to our community because many people just don't know that these are available here, that this is, they don't know that Planned Parenthood does all this great work. And when they hear about it, they're like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I haven't gone to the doctors in like 5 years. So like, no, yeah, you can get a checkup. Go to Planned Parenthood. So focusing on that aspect is also really important. And yeah, so, and there's many issues here too, but I think immigration and reproductive justice is one of the two main issues that we do really want to go more into depth with.
Are those the ones that you're most passionate about? I mean, you mentioned the list, and everything pretty much intersects.
Yes.
So, what is the one that you're most passionate about, and the one that just kind of drove you to looking at advocacy?
What drove me into advocacy work is immigration.
Okay.
When Trump was elected president, I saw a big difference in the border. So I used to go back and forth from Matamoros to Brownsville to go to school, and I would see the development changes of like, well, now you have tent cities. Now you have more customs. At the midway of the border, just trying to see, do you have a birth certificate or do you have a passport? So things like that, I started to notice that a lot of these things were changing. People's perspectives were changing as well. And that directly impacted me to just do more advocacy work with that, because when the separation policy happened, it was disheartening to see, especially here. And that's why like immigration is an issue that I'm really passionate about. And it's not only immigration, but it's also reproductive rights. When Roe vs. Wade was overturned, that was a big, like, heart stopped, because I got home from a nap and then I was like, oh, what's going on today? And I checked, and it's, it leaked that Roe versus Wade was going to be overturned. So, and I come from a family of strong women. I have little sisters. I'm like, if this is going to be their future, I don't want that to be their future. I want them to live a life that they want to live. And that's why these, like, two issues, and as well as voting rights, is a big one for me. But yeah, these three issues are really important to me. But of course, every issue intersects with one another.
Yes, that's right.
Dude, you just took me back to that day. I was trying to figure out where I was at when I heard the news, and what I might have said after I heard the news. But well, that's for another show.
That's for the
Let me,
that's for the podcast.
that's for the podcast. Let me see. So, what do you want to? You have right now an open mic, right?
Yeah.
What do you want to? What do you want to tell our listeners?
So I want to tell our listeners that not to give up hope. There's young people who care about the same things that you care about. There's organizations, there's nonprofits who care about the same thing that you care about. Here in Brownsville, it may seem a little bit hopeless because you don't see as much as a political activity. But there's organizations that do a lot of great work behind the scenes. Planned Parenthood, Casa Orgullo, Texas Rising, Frontera Fund, all of these organizations do amazing work. And just, I like, just don't give up hope. I would like to also mention that here in Texas Rising, we welcome anybody. So anybody who wants to go and learn more, volunteer. We have a student right now who's in nursing school, and she's working with us. So we come from all different backgrounds, and we all contribute something to our team. If you may not know much about, climate change, somebody else does. If you want to know more about, reproductive rights, somebody's going to talk for an hour about it. So there's a community here. But yeah.
Oh,
Has anybody ever challenged you guys? Maybe you're at a table and somebody comes up to you and just doesn't agree with what you're doing, what you're promoting, what you're advocating for. And I mean, how do you handle that? Because again, we go back to miscommunication, misinformation, things like that. And I'm sure, like you mentioned earlier, Sylvia, our community here in Brownsville is very tight knit. Yeah. And you may have people that, don't believe in the same things that you believe in, and may, question your age as to why are you advocating for these things if you or haven't lived enough to understand the ways of life or whatever it may be. But have you ever encountered anybody that is just in opposition of what you guys are advocating for, which are important things, but not everybody will agree with what you guys are doing?
Yes. I think every member, mentally as well, has experienced some sense of challenging. For us, we try to educate, but if they don't want to listen, then of course we just need to tell them, hey, we're just tabling here. Thank you for your day. Have a nice day. That's pretty much what we do, because it also comes down to respect. So, yes. So it is something that, we have gotten trained for, what to do when a bad actor comes. So we use those tools to, implement it in real life. Yes, everybody may not agree with everything that we do, but we're just trying to inform and help our community. Yeah. That's all we try to do. And like personally, I grew up with a crazy family, so I have thick skin. So I'm really sad, and many of our Texas Rising members also have thick skin. We have experienced a lot of backlash and a lot of some questionable remarks, but a lot of us, we laugh it off and we just talk about it. And from there, we continue doing these advocacy issues. Yeah.
Wow. Have you experienced any, feelings of burnout because of that, those experiences or those feelings?
Yeah. Yes. Personally, for me, I have experienced burnout. I sometimes go home I remember crying in the car one time with my mom because, these anti-immigration bills happening, and I was looking at the comments and I was like, oh my God. But I had to go into work the next day. And just having people, make some side remarks. I had a group of people standing in front of me and making some really, misogynist comments and some racist comments. But, I stood there and I just kept doing my job. I tried to register people to vote. I tried to inform them. That was just what I was doing. But it is an experience of burnout. But at the end of the day, I also think about, the Texas Rising team. I mean, they're all doing the same thing I'm doing. Yeah. And, we still have a reason to keep going. And my reason is always going to be, my family and knowing that I want to inform as many families going on.
Yeah, because you mentioned you have, younger sisters, right?
Yes.
And so you want to be able to, plan for them and for their future and living in a community and a place that, is just.
Yeah. I want them to just experience a good life without any worries. And I think that's every parents or siblings, older sisters, dream is just to have their kids live a life that, they're happy with and they don't have any obstacles. But of course, it's not a perfect life. So doing this work seems like a sense of I'm doing something at least. I'm doing it and I'm trying, and everybody in Texas Rising is trying. Everybody in the community is trying. So that just keeps me motivated to just do it again.
And like Sylvia mentioned, you are bound to burn out or become frustrated when you see, oh my goodness, all this work that we're putting into, all this effort, all these grassroots projects, and then bills start passing, or, you hear something in the news and you're like, oh my goodness, but you keep fighting the good fight, which is what it's about.
A new game plan every week.
Yes. You're on your vision board.
Yeah. You're like, okay, this didn't work, but let's retool this.
I mean, I think one of them was we had a big thing with for informing people for the Constitution Election Day, and we were like, okay, we can do a little parties to the polls, we'll put it in ETRGB. Nombre nada. It was there wasn't any polls, so we just okay, let's just re-strategize within that week, and we did, and we put it off.
You adjust.
Organizing is a lot of work.
It is. I know my Estrella, my supervisor, she did. She was in my job position last year, and I saw her just scratch this plan. Let's move on to this one, and I'm like, okay. So it's just one day you're thinking about doing this, the next day something else comes up, and you're like, okay, scratch this plan.
Can I ask you what the average age or maybe grade level of some of these are? Some of them seniors, freshmen, juniors. What are you seeing most of? And the reason I ask is because it is so great to see such young people take on these roles. Sylvia, you and I are about the same age, students back in 1990 something, and I was a student here at UTB-ETC, and you mentioned commuter schools. To me, it was, man, I got out of class at noon, and that was it. And so to see people taking that step and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I get out of class at noon, but there's a meeting at 2:00. I want to be a part of that. I mean, that says something a lot about that student. And so are you seeing younger students, freshmen with that passion? I mean, all of you have passion, but I mean, you could say, maybe the percentage is, most of them are seniors. They're older. They've lived a little bit longer in terms of experiences. But what are you seeing? Is it mixed?
It's mixed. My supervisor, Estrella, she's in graduate school, and she's in graduate school. Fernando Arefo, he is about to graduate. He just needs one semester. And Rebecca, she's in nursing school. She took a break, and then she went back to nursing school. And then I think about me, and then my the two student leaders from TSC, Stacy and Lali. We are young. I think we're fresh. I'm a sophomore and they're sophomores too. So yeah, it's mixed, honestly. And it's really, for here in Bronzeville, it is really kind of just someone in nursing school, graduate school, undergrads. But I'm not sure about,
The
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Yes. But yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Menely? Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Yes. uh, yeah, they were asking about like the different ages, like if there's freshmen or seniors here in Edinburgh campus.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I've noticed just from our tablings on the Edinburgh campus that it mainly leans towards freshmen or sophomores. Actually, I don't see a lot of seniors or upperclassmen as interested as freshmen and sophomores. Yeah. So.
Okay. Let me see. So we didn't get to ask you, but maybe we have 10 minutes. Maybe we can do the what. I know you were here last week,
Yes.
so maybe you've been thinking about the question.
Yes.
Maybe not. Maybe that was just maybe you feel differently about feminism. So what does feminism? Maybe over the week, right? Things changed. What does feminism mean to you?
Feminism means the same thing to me. It's
From the last time you were here.
just appreciating icons before me and future icons who are fighting the good fight, and that is usually for me. It's looking up to younger people my age or older people about all the work that they're doing. So whether they're like moms and going to the workforce, teachers, anything, I think that is a great example to everybody who's just wanting to live a life of equality and not all of I'm not going to say anything else because I'm going to go in a rant. But yeah, just feminism means to me appreciating future generations and older generations. So yeah.
What-
Melanie?
What about Melanie?
Hello?
Um. So wait, what was the question? Oh my God. Sorry.
What does feminism mean to you?
No, yes. It really just means like fighting the good fight and trying to advocate for social change. I think that's mainly what feminism means to me, challenging the status quo. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's what my answer would be to that in very simplified terms. But yeah.
Cool. So I have a question, one final question, and then if you have any more. But do you? I mean, it seems like Texas Rising is an educational space, right, where you have been able to, like it sounds like based on the story, your sister signing you up, that you already have that in you. How has Texas Rising helped you educationally, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
I have said it before. Texas Rising has opened up many doors for me. Becoming a member, becoming a student leader, and getting a stipend for it, having like being appreciated in a way of like we understand you're a student, we understand you're a student, you're trying to work, do classes, and then going into a position of campus organizer. I cannot be beyond grateful for this organization, as much as many loopholes of like something new happening, everything like that. I'm super grateful for Texas Rising for giving me the opportunity to expand in a leadership role, but also expand in an educational way, because they give us training. They take us to Austin like every summer to get more trained. We go to advocacy day every 2 years and just talk to our representatives. So things like that, like I never had the opportunity to do it before I came to Texas Rising. So having those connections, building coalition work, that has opened a new love for me and a new thinking of like if this one doesn't work out, I would not at all like mind keep doing this work, and I want to continue doing this work since, forever. So Texas Rising has just done so many things, and I'm really grateful because this organization does support a lot of the things we're doing. We have budgeting, like we don't have to fundraise, like they give us a budget.
Oh, okay.
So that within itself, it's amazing because they do support us. So it's really great.
So you're running projects.
Yeah, we are. Doing like the project for the book ban week, doing projects with Lupe, doing projects with Gas Orgullo, like things like that. I think it's amazing that we can have that flexibility and say, well, we can contribute this, and just like build more coalition work with that.
Yeah.
We can, something that we say is that we may not have as much, but like we can provide you manpower for sure. We can provide you woman power because, there is people that, sometimes they have a day off on Saturday and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I want to volunteer. So that is amazing to see.
Wow. You're learning, right? The learning
Yes.
process. We need that for Texas Rising geriatrics or something, or like something for us older generation. I'm just joking. This is a joke. This is me joking.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
One question with 6 parts. No, I'm just kidding. No. I have a question. Yeah, exactly. No, I have a question. I have a question. What? And I don't know if this was mentioned earlier, but what grade level are you?
I'm a sophomore.
You're a sophomore.
Yes.
Okay. And it was really interesting what she was mentioning over the phone, that the majority of students, at least on the Edinburgh campus, are freshmen. Yeah. And, you think junior, senior, they're getting ready to finish. Is that why you think maybe it sort of drops off a little bit? Is because those students, as much as they would love to continue advocating and working, they're getting close to finishing school. And so my question is, again, 6 parts, is what do you think is motivating those freshmen to say, hey, you know what, I want to change this community? What do you think is their mindset of like, man, I want to do this?
Yeah.
I'm young, I have a voice, I can represent, I can advocate. What do you think is happening there in the sense that, man, these freshmen, I never thought about that as freshmen. I was just like, I just want to get through these classes and go home.
I wanted to join the Peace Corps, so I was
That's
already
true.
thinking.
You're already thinking that. You're already thinking that. But yeah, I guess my question is, what do you think a freshman is thinking about, or the process where, man, I want to do this? Because I know, like I said, I had no interest back in the day as I was a freshman. But it's great, and it's fantastic to see so many young people being involved.
I think it all has to do with the power of like social media too.
Oh, okay.
I think in an aspect of like where people are scrolling up on Twitter or like TikTok, people are seeing, some of these influencers talking about, reproductive justice, immigration, things like that. And I always believe that when I was in high school, I had many opinions, but I don't know where to bring them. So that that was one thing where I knew that I personally, for me, I had many opinions, so I was just wanting to find an organization that fits what I believe in.
And that's great.
I believe that a lot of freshmen are looking for just to get involved and make friends and do something aside from just school. So I think that gives them, because they also have a lot of flexibility. I mean, some of them.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking, was that as freshmen, you have a little more flexibility,
You probably have some freshmen listening like, what?
Exactly.
What are you talking? What world do you live in?
I want to go play Roblox.
No, I mean, I had the privilege to not work my freshman year because, school. So I got involved in Texas Rising. So I think like many people are just trying to make friends, trying to adapt to a campus and find their community. So I believe that's what drives people to just join more organizations.
So the 6th part of this question is, how do you recruit, and how, if somebody's interested, can they reach out to you and be a part of this wonderful program?
Yes. So if you want to come and join us and be part of Texas Rising, I would really suggest joining our V-Link, but also following us on our Texas Rising page, which add TX or text, so TEX, and then Rising RGV. So that will be our Instagram handle. And you can just shoot us a message saying, I'm interested in joining, whether that being in the Edinburgh or Brownsville campus or the TSC campus. We'll set up a one-on-one meeting with you, and we'll just get to know each other, get to know what you want to do. We try to listen to our members because they are also, rising organizers. So if they want to lead a project that involves reproductive justice, bring it to our table. We can help you. So yeah, going into our Instagram or our signing up in our V link, we'll reach out to you. But yeah.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. I'm so proud of you. You and I have recently met and have been getting to
Yes.
know each other over the few weeks. So I really appreciate you coming yesterday to Eco Rio Symposium.
Thank you for inviting us. It
Yeah.
was really interesting to just listen. I especially loved Sophie's presentation. I was like, oh, this
Yeah.
is really interesting to see.
Yeah. It's an annual event, so you'll be there. So now I know that I can call you.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will love that actually. Yes, keep inviting us, please.
Yeah. You're gonna come to my class too.
That's
Oh
all.
yes, we're trying to do VRs in classrooms too. So
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Again, I'm in awe. I mean, I really am. I'm glad that you all are here and that you're supporting students who want to have these conversations. Right. That's I think for me, just right there, it's a huge contribution to what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I know me and Menely probably think the same. That our team is honestly also a big part of everything. Because some of us have classes, but yet we still make time to just keep going. So having members and upcoming members, that is what makes this organization so great. So yeah.
So go join. I want to join.
Yes, and we want to thank everybody that's been listening today. And if you're a first-time listener, muchas gracias. And if you are a listener that has supported us from the beginning, thank you so much. And if you know anybody that is interested in what we're talking about, or you know somebody that would just be such a wonderful addition to what they're doing, please let them know about this. And there's so many wonderful things that are happening, and it's great to
Okay.
hear about that.
So we're heading to the weekend.
Not only the
I-
weekend, but also Thanksgiving. So
Thanksgiving.
everybody have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving.
And we're not going to have a show next week.
No.
So, enjoy whatever cooking you make during this week that you're off.
Stay safe. Don't spend too much money on Black Friday. Money that we don't have.
Al menos que hay una buena
Yeah, if there's
oferta.
something really, really
Ay,
good. Man, I really want that 72-inch television and they're for $300. Let me go get that. But no, everybody, thank you so much. Stay safe. Be careful. And we'll see you all next time.
Have a great weekend.